Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon. Afternoon.
It is my pleasure to be here with you. Inspector Burrows is my name. I'm from the Police Training College. Thank you all so much for participating in this session and in this exercise this afternoon. Just before I get started, what I want a few of you to assist me with is your knowledge of the police force as it relates to law enforcement, what we do, what you know about us. Please feel free to share. You can unmute your mic and you can take it away at this time. What do you know about us?
Police are allowed to use guns if the suspect is threatening.
Well, you are absolutely correct. We are allowed to use our weapons if we have a suspect who is difficult or one who is, like you said, threatening. That's pretty good, and you're absolutely right. Anybody else wanted to take a swipe at it?
The police force is the oldest law enforcement agency in the Bahamas.
You are absolutely correct. We are the oldest law enforcement agency in the Bahamas. Now, what I'm going to do in my conversation with you is actually arm you with information, not only with me talking about the Royal Bahamas Police Force. I want to basically share on three areas, and it will be centered around us as a law enforcement agency, also with us possessing legal power as well. But who are we? What do we do? And how can you join us? Basically, because when I was in school, like some of you are currently, people who thought about being a police officer and you expressed that, you weren't received very well. And sometimes my friends would say, "You be a police, you be a snitch, but that ain't no serious job. You joking." But after spending 22 years in the organization, I don't regret a day. And the police force is more expansive than people think. We're larger than people think. So let's get into sharing about us then. A little bit of history. And when you said that the Royal Bahamas Police Force is the oldest law enforcement organization or entity in the country, you're absolutely right. We were founded March 1st, 1840. Yes, we were. So coming up in the next couple of days, the Royal Bahamas Police Force will be 181 years old. We were formed with only 16 men under the command of Inspector General John Pinder. Now, some of these men, they were slaves, yes, but they were known as night guards. They weren't semi-military and their powers were actually limited. The new police force, where we are now, was distinctly non-military in nature. It provided 24-hour patrol in New Providence only, and it was not until several years after the formation that members were transferred to some of the islands. By the end of 1840, the strength of the organization consisted of one Inspector General, and we know his name, that's John Pinder, and then 30 sergeants, corporals, and privates. And later they were joined by some constables. That was then. Now, our force is extremely large and intricate in 21st century law enforcement with over 4,000 officers, reserves, and police civilians. We provide policing services throughout the to the residents in over 20 something islands, major islands that are inhabited, but altogether we know our archipelago consists of 700 islands and keys. So the joy I have in being a police officer is not just the badge, but being able to have my badge and going to work in Mayaguana. And I say Mayaguana because I worked in Mayaguana for 3 years and I just came back to Nassau about 2 years ago. I can go to Cat Island. If you become a police officer in, let's say, the US, your powers are limited because you have different jurisdictions in terms of counties, you have different states. So in the Bahamas, because we are one country with different islands, I could be a police officer in any island. But In the US, you can't do that. Your power is only restricted to that province, that county, or that state that you're a part of. We exist under the authority of the Police Act 2000, and in accordance with the Act, we are headed by a commissioner who has the authority as the authority of the Minister of National Security of the Bahamas. The commissioner is also the ex officio provost marshal. He has responsibility for the guidance and general direction of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. The commissioner of police is a very powerful man. As a matter of fact, in a few weeks or months, when the House is paroled and we go into a general election, the commissioner will be the man with the power as provost marshal. Now, we have been fortunate and blessed that all of our commissioners have been very stable and level-headed, because during that time, we have the smooth transition of power. But if he was diabolical, then he could actually plan a coup and take over the country. But we thank God for stable democracy. A little bit more about us. Our vision, for those who are interested, even in a career in policing, is to make the Bahamas a safer place to live, work, visit, and play. Our mission, therefore, is to work together for a safer Bahamas. Our mandate includes 5 key pillars. 1, we maintain law and order. 2, we preserve the peace. 3, we prevent and detect crime. 4, we apprehend offenders. And 5, we enforce the law. And when I talk about the law, the Royal Bahamas Police Force is the only law enforcement organization or entity in the country that has powers of arrest under the Immigration Act, the Customs Act. We have powers of arrest under the Fisheries Act. Now, Customs don't have powers of arrest under the Police Act. Immigration doesn't have powers of arrest under the Police Act. Same thing with the Bahamas Department of Correction. So our role as police officers is very extensive as it relates to enforcement of the law. Our guiding philosophy, therefore, is to fulfill our mandate of policing the Commonwealth of the Bahamas in partnership with all citizens, residents, and visitors by serving them with care, respect, and trust. So you would find that predominantly and primarily, we enforce the law. Whenever a law is enacted, the police has to execute, and we are the guardians of the law. You would also note that as we entered into the pandemic, and the Prime Minister had to put in place with the cabinet and the leaders of the country emergency orders to restrict our movement and powers, the police officers were charged to carry out and enforce the laws. Having knowledge of those laws are very important. That is where people like me come in. I'm a trainer at the Police Training College, and it is our duty to continue to keep our officers up to speed, abreast with the law, so that we can be current, we can stay relevant, and so that we can effect our duty to the best of our ability. So what do we do? And get this out of your head, if you just believe that police officers are just there to drive up and down in cars, speed up and down the place, look pretty and smile. The Royal Bahamas Police Force encompasses so many career fields that sometimes I feel locally, people really don't have an appreciation how vast or expansive a career in policing is. Let me just give you a taste of some of the things that we do as officers.
I am an officer in the Royal Bahamas Police Force.
I will serve our nation without favor or affection,
malice or ill will.
I will cause peace to be kept and preserved.
911, what is your emergency?
I will work in partnership with all citizens, residents, and visitors.
I will respect individual human rights, reflecting fairness, sensitivity, and compassion.
I will be firm in pursuit of all offenders of our laws.
I will prevent crime and the fear of crime from adversely affecting the quality of life.
I will discharge my duties with the highest degree of professionalism.
With courage, loyalty, and integrity.
If you have what it takes to become a police officer, apply online today at royalbahamaspolice.org.
let's stick
I
a pin
am an
there. In that video, you saw officers, all of them are police officers. They were dressed differently, they were doing different things. What are some of the career titles you saw being demonstrated in the video that I shared just now? You can unmute yourself and go ahead and share.
The first responders who listen to who calls 911.
Thank you. First responders now, and you said 911. So they're first responders, like the officers who are in mobile and they go out on the streets, or officers at the station, they patrol. They're first responders. But then there's a dispatcher who feeds the information from police control room, what is now attached to our real-time crime center. In our real-time crime center, you have the dispatchers, then in another section, you have CCTV, and then in another part of that, you also have the officers that deal with our drones as well, because we have drones. Now, that's just an aspect of it. What else did you see in the video?
Police that can fly planes.
Right. So we have police officers who are actually pilots. The police force has a plane that we utilize to assist our officers and take care of business, not only internally for the force, but also from areas and its situations of national interest. What else did you see?
Marine officers.
Yes, we have police officers who are captains and they have their captain's license. We have our own harbor patrol where our officers, they comb the seas, support the defense force, and also assist. And as a matter of fact, the Royal Bahamas Police Force has several go-fast boats where they can make their trip around several islands in quick time. Anything else anyone saw? Good. Now, let me help you. At one point, there were two men sitting at the table. Both of them were actually attorneys, and they have their LLBs. Now, currently, the Royal Bahamas Police Force has over 10 attorneys or lawyers that are currently officers in the organization. We have a legal department as well. And then some of our attorneys, they assist us in prosecutions at the court. There was also a lab technician in there because in our forensic lab, we have the complement of police officers and also police civilians. We also had in that video a bomb technician. So there are officers who have been trained, certified, they have their degrees as it relates to hostage negotiation, terrorist negotiation. They could disarm bombs, they can make them, and they are part of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. The Royal Bahamas Police Force, we also have forensic accountants, we have a finance center, we also have a FIU, Finance Intelligence Unit, as you would have seen, or if you were paying attention to the news when a lot of people were being called before the courts for financial crime matters. There's a unit in the force that deal with that. So as I talk to you, I don't want you to think of policing as just one-dimensional. Policing is multi-dimensional. I am a certified trainer. That is what I do. Apart from being a police officer, adorning the uniform, enforcing the law, me being a trainer puts me in a position to teach the law so that the officers who are on the front line not only have the interpretation of the law, but they're able to utilize it effectively to execute their duties. That's just a part of it. We have police officers who are actually chefs, pastry chefs, sous chefs, and we actually have a section in the force whereby they cook. That is what they do. They bake in the Royal Bahamas Police Force. I know that sounds crazy, but we do. The Royal Bahamas Police Force, we have our own conference center that we run out for events. So we have our own people that provides these things. We don't have to outsource that. We have a carpenter shop. And in our carpenter shop, we have certified, qualified contractors, masons, plumbers, electricians, painters. And that is what they do outside of having the power of being a police officer. Because if we're going to enforce the law and be effective at what we do, we need all the parts to come together to be a complete whole. The Royal Bahamas Police Force is like a well-oiled machine or like a vehicle. You see a vehicle, you see it moving, you see it running, and it sounds good. But you have to remember that that vehicle has various parts, whether it's the wheels, whether it's the nuts, whether it's the rods, whether it's a spark plug. And that's what the organization is. And so as we share and as we talk, I want you to think about how large this organization is. Here's another video for you. Anyone can tell me what you think that video is all about?
Firefighting.
Thank you. So we have our firefighters. They are police officers, and they not only fight fires, but they are actually trained as it relates to extrications. When someone is trapped in their vehicles and they have to use the jaws of life, they are actually certified deep sea divers. And even in the fire department, we have underwater welders. Yes, and that's crazy in the Royal Bahamas Police Force. As you continue throughout this whole weekend, and there are so many things that and opportunities that I will encourage you to take advantage of, I want you to think well enough so that if this is what you want to do, don't think that, okay, the only avenue is I'm just going to join the force. No, certify yourself, upgrade your skills. Because what you will find in the Royal Bahamas Police Force is officers who are equipped, who have applied themselves, and they are joining the Royal Bahamas Police Force with degrees, associates, bachelors, and masters. You find them now dime a dozen. You have police officers who are psychologists. Some of them work in various sections, whether it be the criminal detective unit and our family liaison section or the National Crime Prevention Office. This is how expansive it is. I even didn't touch our medical center because in our medical center, we have police officers who are actual nurses. We had a few police officers who were doctors with their PhDs, but all of them would have left the force and moved on. But outside of that, the possibilities are endless as it relates to respective fields and career choices in or within the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Let me encourage you, like I mentioned, whatever your goal is, whatever your dream is, whatever your desire is, you can find applicable space in the Royal Bahamas Police Force and use it for some good to help enforce the law and make this country a safer place because of your efforts. And if that's something that you enjoy, if that's something that you are passionate about, you can actually get paid for it. And that's what we're talking about. While you're tuning in, please, you can unmute your mics. If you thought about it, please let me know. What is your goal? What is your plan? What do you want to do? Do you want to be a police officer, a doctor, a lawyer? And I'll see if there's applicable space for you in the Royal Bahamas Police Force. You can go ahead and share for me, please.
Web designer.
Web designer, good. Now for you, and I'm going to take you to our website in a minute, but definitely we have graphic artists, we have web designers, we have computer technicians. They work predominantly at the police headquarters in our computer center. Because apart from that, we have officers who work in our cybercrime unit who are also tech savvy and they do a lot of the cool stuff. So web design is definitely a career in policing. Thank you. Anyone else care to share?
Family lawyer.
Family lawyer. That's a specialized area as well. Like I said, we have our legal department and our legal team. Now, there's some of the attorneys in the force. They work private practice and they have their private firms doing some of those things. So it doesn't prevent them from following their vocation and utilize their skills within the Royal Bahamas Police Force. All right, one more. Anyone else?
Politician.
You said a politician?
That's so.
Excellent. So let's talk about politician. That's rather cool. Now, you would have known, if you haven't, there are a lot of politicians in the current government that actually were police officers. The former minister of youth, sports and culture, she was a police officer. She left as a corporal, so she would have been able to get the experience as a police officer and moved on. The current minister of immigration, Elsworth Johnson, he is a former police officer as well. He left. He is an attorney as well, and he moved on, but he was able to build on his experience from the police force. The current Minister of Social Services was a former police officer. He retired as a police sergeant, so he was able to build on that. And the three of those persons I mentioned, they were actually sitting in the cabinet. Then you also had former chief superintendent of police, who was actually one of the first police officers to obtain an LLB, Keith Bell. He served in the cabinet of the former government as the junior minister in the Ministry of National Security. But you'll find, as a young person entering the Royal Bahamas Police Force, gaining the level of experience and being exposed to so much helps you, even if you don't decide to stay, to actually prepare you for opportunities. Because trust me, the exposure of it is pretty good. And I'm not saying that because I'm in it, I'm just saying it because of how I benefited. How can you join us? This is the first and rudimentary step that I encourage persons who are interested in a career in policing to look at.
Have you ever wanted to push yourself to limits you thought were unreachable? Would you like to learn life lessons that prove vital throughout your adult life, such as courage, loyalty, and integrity? Well, guess what? The wait is over. If you are 15 to 17 years old, in grades 10 or 11, with a GPA of 2.5 and above, possessing at least 5 BJCs with a C grade in both math and English, then your destiny awaits. With your parents' permission, log on to www.royalbahamaspolice.org/cadets and download your application form today. Fill it out and submit it to the Police Training College located on University Drive, formerly Thompson Boulevard. For more information, contact the Police Training College at 502-9800-1-5. The Royal Bahamas Police Cadet Corps. Enter to learn, leave to serve.
Now, that opportunity that is there, the Police Cadet Corps program is the feeder program for the force, where we try to identify young people like yourself who are intelligent and bright-minded and have an idea of what you want to do in the future. And what we do with you, because our program is where we try to identify the brightest and the best. We reward you or we invest in you. Our cadets work with us or work for us 18 hours a week, and they make a stipend of $150 a week for 18 hours. Now, here's the catch. They come in on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and we have teachers who come in and tutor them with maths, English, and science, because we want to ensure that they pass their BGCSEs. On Saturdays, they come in for another 9 hours, because there's 3 hours on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursday. They learn police science. They also get involved in learning how to drill. In addition to that, we also give them opportunities for community service. We're involved in GGYA. We partnership with Toastmasters so that they can develop their communication skills. And after they graduate from school, we provide an opportunity for them to apply for a bond where they can get the scholarship to go to UB and study a bachelor's degree of their choice. They have the option after they would have completed their degree to come into the force. In addition to that, if the cadet reaches 18 years of age and they don't want to go to college, but they want to join the force, they have first preference. And we have many cadets who've taken on that option, and they've done it. That's an opportunity for you to get your foot in the door and make your way to policing. Something that I also mentioned, I didn't mention, sorry, but you saw it displayed, the Royal Bahamas Police Force Band. That's a specialized area in the force. Every officer in the band plays at least 3 instruments, every officer. The bulk of them have their degree in music. They can teach music, they can write music. That's why the band is so good. And the band travels extensively around the world. That's in the Royal Bahamas Police Force. So when you look at a police officer, don't just look at the officer in the uniform. Don't just look at it as, oh, that's just a humdrum profession. Oh no, there's so much more that meets the eyes that people don't even know. But all these wheels make everything go round so that at the end of the day, we do our primary job, which is to prevent and detect crime. Because if the attorneys aren't pushing cases, then we would lose more in the courts. If those officers who are skilled in the lab don't process our evidence, we will lose as well. If our crime scene investigators, those photographers that take our pictures and sketch artists, that draws when somebody say they're robbed and they know the picture of the face of the victim, we will lose our cases. So all of this enhances who we are and what we do. What was mentioned was our Royal Bahamas Police Force website. You can feel free. Once you type in Royal Bahamas Police Force, the search engine takes you directly to a link that you can click on. If that's too much, then rbpf.bs. You can put that in the search engine and it will direct you straight to this page. And if you do not know, you're not aware, Paul Rose is our current Commissioner of Police. Once you get there, there's so much information, and I know someone said they wanted to be a web designer. Our website changes daily, is updated daily. We have to stay current with information. As you can see, there's so many tabs. You can find bio on the Commissioner of Police, commanders of various divisions. But the thing that I want to point out is the careers. Once you click on careers, you will have the option to see and learn more about us, and also the recruitment, how you could become a police officer, the attributes a police officer should possess and have. And I'm only touching these lightly because time will not permit me to go into all of these. The duration of training, which is 6 months, the application process, and I'll talk about that in a second, the examination process, also how to apply. We no longer accept applications over the counter. We have moved into the 21st century, so applications have to be filled online. However, once we would have gotten the applications we need for the recruitment cycle for that particular period, the portal is closed. At this time, the portal is closed, and the portal will not be open until we take in the new enlistment. However, if you like the Royal Bahamas Police Force Facebook page, you will get a notice when we do open the portal. And then the Cadet Corps, if you're interested in the cadet program, that's also there. And for those of your parents who may be interested, big brother and sister, 18 years or older, they can join the reserve. And then we also have civilian job opportunities as well. So let's talk about the steps. Number 1, the application. You have to fill out the application. Step 2, you have to sit an entrance exam. If you don't have the 4 BGCSEs that we require. The 3rd step, you'll have to present yourself on an extended interview. And I'm so happy that you're a part of JA because they've provided you with opportunities for interviews, to participate in a speech contest, so that it prepares you for situations like that. We have persons who come to interviews and they fail all the time. They have good grades, but they cannot communicate and articulate what it is that they want. So they don't get in. Physical fitness. You should be able to do a certain amount of push-ups, sit-ups, and the like. And then medical evaluation, because if you have pre-existing conditions that prevent you from performing your duties as a police officer, you will more than likely not be hired. Step 5, then is the background screening. Let me say to you, as you plan your life, plan your future, be mindful of your friends, be mindful of the things that you post on social media. Yes, you want to be hot boy 5 and sexy girl 6, and you know, you're young, you're handsome, you're beautiful, and you post your nice pictures and stuff. Make sure that you don't post scandalous stuff. You don't post a picture with you with your one other gang. Not you, but you know, people do that. Because whatever you put on social media is never deleted. Even though you think it is never. And then step 6, you have the appointment and confirmation that, hey, you've been hired and all those good stuff. The documents that you need, birth certificate, because most of all, you must be a Bahamian citizen, passport, along with some other stuff. Now, please follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, because the Royal Bahamas Police Force is active and social media savvy or friendly, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, our primary job is to prevent and detect crime and to enforce the law. At any given time, the Commissioner of Police, like was done before, can say to me as a trainer, Inspector Burrows, I need you to go to Long Island, and I will go. Or Inspector Burrows, I need to transfer you to the Grove Police Station, and I will go. Or Inspector Burrows, you know what? I need you to assist as a press liaison officer in police headquarters. And that is why I say the career in policing is rewarding. It has a lot of advantages. And of course, there's always the threat that one day you may not go home. And so, but someone like me who understand that, I do what I can to stay alive. And I keep a prayer in my heart, understanding that God is totally in control. At this time, it was my pleasure to basically speak to you as it relates to the police force and to help you understand us a little bit better. I'm open to taking any questions that you may have at this time. Any questions? I hope I didn't put everybody to sleep. I was that bad. Any questions, comments? And thank you so much for your participation. I thought you all did a phenomenal job. Any questions for me?
Does the training period for the fire department is 6 months too, or longer?
The fire department, their training at the college is 4 months, and then they do 2 months practical at the fire branch. So it's 6 months.
So is it true that all the police officers and all the firefighters, like, they fight all the time?
When you say fight all the time, help me understand so I can answer you correctly.
More competitively, but like sometimes, like, you know, they despise each other. Like, is that true? It's a rumor.
Yeah, that's a rumor. At the end of the day, every section of the force is very competitive. Like this month, March, sorry, this police month. And during that time, we're gonna have a speech contest, we're gonna have a shooting contest, pool contest. We are competitive. So everyone who's outside of our team, it's gonna be a vibe. And not in a bad way. That's healthy competition. But at the end of the day, we understand and we know that we have a job to do. And my brothers, whether they be a fireman, a bandsman, a bomb technician, we all have to come together to fight crime. And that not only makes us the strongest gang in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, but also our brothers and sisters keeper. Any other questions? Okay, awesome. That being done, thank you so much for participating in my session. I enjoyed my time with you. I wish you all the best. Take full advantage of Bahama Jack and make this experience count. I know we are virtual, and what I know about Jay, we're not used to this, but be that as it may, I commend the organizers for still putting this on and providing you with this awesome opportunity. Do take care, do your best, and I will see you at the top.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leonardo. Thank you so much for being a part of our Bahama Jack career session for legal and law. Mr. Boris, we say thank you again. And for the students that are on the call, can you please stay on the call after Mr. Boris has left? I want to have a quick word with you. Thank you once again, Mr. Boris.
Thank you.
All right, students, y'all can hear me?